Let's recall your understanding and concept about chemical bond. Identify what is being described. You can pause the video anytime if you need extra thinking time. Let's have number 1. This type of bond involves the transfer of electrons from one atom, usually a metal, to another atom, which is a non-metal. And the answer is ionic bond. Number 2. This atom loses electron and becomes positively charged ion. The answer is cation. Number 3. This atom gains electron and becomes negatively charged ion. And the answer is anion. This type of bond involves sharing of valence electron between non-metals. And the answer is covalent bond. Here are some key questions for you to ponder after finishing this video lesson. Why carbon is a unique atom? What is the difference between organic and inorganic compounds? What are the types of organic compounds? And lastly, what are the characteristics of inorganic compounds? Why is carbon atom unique among other atoms? Carbon atom is unique because of its valence electron.
Carbon atoms have 4 valence electrons that can be shared by different particles that have electrons to share, forming covalent bonds.
Carbon atom is unique because of its bond length.
Carbon atom has the ability to form long carbon-to-carbon chains. It can tie with one another in straight chains, yet in complex branching.
Carbon atom is unique because of its strength.
The carbon-to-carbon single bond is a sigma bond and is formed between one hybridized orbital from each of the carbon atoms. Sigma bonds are the strongest kind of covalent bond.
Carbon atom is unique because it can have multiple bond formation.
Carbon atoms can form single, double, or triple bonds.
Organic compounds are a group of compounds that contains the element carbon and hydrogen. It consistently contains carbon with other different elements that are required for living creatures to work. We will also talk about the organic compounds found in the living things such as sugars, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. It is important to know its characteristics in different food sources. For carbohydrates, we have breads, potatoes, and wheat. For lipids, we have different oils. For proteins, we have our meats. And for nucleic acids, we have our DNA and RNA. Let's start with the carbohydrates. The elements present for carbohydrates are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The uses of carbohydrates is for energy source. The classifications for carbohydrates are monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. For monosaccharides, it means that we have only one sugar unit, and the examples are glucose and fructose. Glucose is found in our blood sugar, and fructose is found in fruit sugar. For disaccharide, it means that it is composed of 2 sugar units. The examples are sucrose, maltose, and lactose. For polysaccharides, we have starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Next, we have lipids. The elements present are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The primary use of lipids is for storage of energy. And the building blocks of lipids are fatty acids. The three main classifications are triglycerides, which compose of fats, oils, and waxes. We have steroids and phospholipids. Let's have a close look on fatty acids. It can either be saturated or unsaturated. When a fatty acid contains single bond and solid at room temperature, it is saturated fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acid has one or more double bonds and liquid at room temperature. In human consumption, it is preferred to take unsaturated fats than saturated fats. Next, let's have proteins. The elements present are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. It is essential for the organization, function, and regulation of tissues and organs. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. The examples are hemoglobin, keratin, collagen, myoglobin, fibrin, and insulin. Last one, we have nucleic acid, and the elements present are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and lastly, phosphorus. It is chief genetic information carrying molecules of the cell. The building blocks of nucleic acids are the nucleotides. We have the phosphate group, the sugar, and the nitrogen base. We have discussed this in our first quarter grading period. The types are DNA and RNA. We've learned that DNA is a double helix and RNA is a single-stranded molecule. Inorganic compound is a compound that does not contain both carbon and hydrogen. A great number of inorganic compounds like table salt, water, carbon dioxide, and hydrochloric acids are common examples of inorganic compounds. Inorganic substances do not come from living things or previously living organisms. Salts, metals, and substances made from single substances, any compound that do not contain carbon, and lastly, carbon-containing substances that lack carbon-hydrogen bonds. These are the common examples of inorganic compounds. Now I think you're ready for our activities. Put on your thinking cap, don't be pressured by the time, pause the video while you are answering. Our first activity is getting to know. Choose the element that comprises the given organic compound by checking the appropriate box. Grab your pen and paper. Again, you can pause the video anytime you like. Here are the answers for our first activity. Did you get them all correct? I hope so. For this activity, listen carefully to the following statements and choose which organic compound is being described. Number 1, it stores genetic code. The answer is nucleic acid. Number 2, it is used for building and support bone and muscle tissues. That is proteins. Correct. It is used for storage of energy. The correct answer is lipids. And last one, it is the main source of energy for living things. And that is carbohydrates. Good. For our second activity, O or I search. I want you to analyze the composition of the given formula. Write O if it is an organic compound and I for inorganic compound. And these are the answers. I hope you got a perfect score. Let's summarize our topic for today. Carbon atom is a unique type of atom. It is remarkably different through its valence electron, bond length, strength, and its ability to have multiple bond formation. The carbon-to-carbon single bond is a sigma bond, and it's formed between one hybridized orbital from each of the carbon atoms. Organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen atoms. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a fantastic day.